So at this point, I've helped well over 100 people buy a home here in San Diego County, and generally there aren't any major mistakes. Sometimes we learn the hard way, the fumbles that you can make when investing $1 million or more in a home here in San Diego. And hopefully you can learn from these mistakes. My name is Dan Parker, your San Diego real estate resource, and we're going to get right into this list. And if there's anything you think we missed, make sure to drop it down in the comments. First off is going to be proper inspections on a home. Now this is a very simple one. You should always have inspections on a home. You have a general inspector go out and check out the property, but sometimes there's more than that. Is there a pool? Is it an older home that has sewer lines going out into the street? Of course, it's going to have sewer lines going out into the street. You need to make sure to check those sewer lines to ensure that there isn't any root intrusions or any other major issues with old cast iron pipes or something like that. And here are two examples that I can give you. Starting off with our home, where I live right here. This is my home office. At our current house, the inspection came back pretty good. There weren't any major issues that we were noticing, except for a small crack in the foundation stem wall in the garage. Now, because this is the garage, we didn't think it was going to be a major issue. It seemed like something we were just getting quotes via text with some repair companies that it was going to be an epoxy fill, not too much money. But the problem is we didn't have time to get out that other inspector, didn't have time to get that foundation company out to check it out in person, because if we did, we would have found out it was closer to a $10,000 fix. Now, luckily this was on my home and on my client's home, so I was the one that made that decision, but ultimately we should have done that extra inspection. And another example of this is I have some clients out in North Park that bought a home that was over 100 years old. We knew that there was old sewer lines, cast iron pipes, some weird angles, some different things going on that you don't see in new construction today. And because of that, the inspector had a hard time inspecting those pipes. Ultimately, he gave it a pretty clean bill of health, but it's because he wasn't able to fully inspect those sewer lines. At the end of the day, after moving in, they ended up having a $30,000 repair on those sewer lines because a lot of things had to be redone. They had to break out the concrete. They had to drill down. They had to completely redo a lot of this stuff. Sewer, along with foundation and roof, of course, these are things that can get really, really expensive really fast. So you want to make sure that you are thorough with your inspections. And I know that can be difficult in a very hot market, but it is important. Mistake number two is going to be not getting a home warranty with the purchase of your home. Now, more often than not, what we're going to do is we're going to ask for sellers to pay for a home warranty for your home. So you're covered if any major issues happen with items like your HVAC unit, your refrigerator, your washer and dryer. This company will come out, repair or replace those items for a very nominal fee. And the great thing about this is you just spent a lot of money buying a very expensive new home. You've probably depleted some or a lot of your savings, and this is going to give you a little bit more confidence in that first year. If a high ticket item comes up that needs to be repaired or replaced, it's essentially going to be covered. And this is something that gets used all the time. We've had 3 clients this year that had moved into their new home. Their HVAC, their AC unit was not working properly. So the home warranty company came out, replaced it for free. So when you buy a home, make sure you always have that home warranty. That's something that we make sure that our clients are always going to have when purchasing a home. And number 3 is going to be the most difficult for you to follow on this list, and that's not allowing your emotions to get the best of you in this home buying process. Now, this can tend to affect some people more than others, but it's really difficult, especially in a market like we are in today, where there are very few homes for sale, and when the nice homes come up that are priced right, you're usually going to have some pretty heavy competition. So your emotions can get the best of you by feeling like you need to put in so much money in order to get your offer accepted. This is something that you might regret down the line. Of course, we want to avoid buyer's remorse. You don't want to go in so hard that a couple of weeks later, a couple of months later, you feel like, dang, why did I do that? Why did I offer so much money? Why did I release all of our contingencies ahead of time? So this is something a lot of times you just need to take a little bit of a step back in the home buying process. And depending on your specific goals, allow yourself a little bit more time and a little bit more freedom to put in strategic offers, but not throwing everything on the table to pretty much guarantee getting an offer accepted. I tend to find with first-time home buyers, this is definitely the most challenging of this entire list. And number 4 has to do with buying an investment property here in San Diego. Now look, if you're buying a multi-million-dollar investment property, you need to make sure the numbers work out. That's going to be the first one. We have a lot of people reach out to us wanting to buy an investment property here in San Diego, but really once they start dialing into the numbers, it's difficult to make it work, especially if it's their first investment and they don't have a lot of contractors lined up, ready to go to help put in instant equity by doing some strategic repairs and upgrades right when you purchase a property. And what I tend to find out, especially for a newer investor, is whatever numbers that you start to put together or believe that you're going to get, assume that you're going to 10 to 20% less than that. Give yourself a little bit more wiggle room and understand that you're also going to have some longer term costs and some random things that pop up. So about 10% of the monthly rent that you're going to get is probably going to go back to the house for repairs, for upgrades. You also want to make sure to really thoroughly do your research. You also need to make sure for this investment property that you are doing your research. If you want this to be a short-term rental, an Airbnb property, do they even allow it within that city? In the city of San Diego, they passed new regulation last year that caps the amount of short-term rentals that are available for short-term rental licenses. Is there still room? There might be. Last time I checked about a month ago, there is. I don't know if there is currently, but you'd want to do that research. And again, every city is going to be different. So Carlsbad, Oceanside, they all have their own rules. You can go to their website. If you just Google search short-term rental rules, Carlsbad or San Marcos or wherever you're looking, the government website is going to be one of the first websites that pops up. And usually they pretty clearly outline what are the rules and regulations. Is there a cap in place? What do you need to know? And lastly, as far as investment, if you are going for a short-term rental, make sure that you have a backup option. If you only can make money if you're using this as a short-term rental, then you don't have anything to fall back on if rules and regulations change down the line, which sometimes they do. This is why I'm a big fan of actually picking a city that has strong rules and regulations and a cap in place, because if they don't today, they might tomorrow. And some other unique, creative ways around that is maybe you have short-term rentals, you have long-term rentals, there's also mid-term rentals. There are military members, there are traveling nurses that are looking for a fully furnished place to live for 6 to 9 months at a time. And this is a very lucrative option that is going to be a higher monthly payment than a long-term rental, but not all the headaches that you're going to get with a short-term rental, and you don't have to deal with the short-term rental rules and regulations. All right, I feel like I got a lot into investments there. If you would like investment-specific videos, let me know in the comments. This isn't something that I talk about all the time, but if you are interested, I'd like to know about it. Number 5 is going to be understand your budget and your monthly expenses. I know a lot of people are really fixated on what is the purchase price and what is the mortgage rate going to be, but that's not the full picture. Understand, obviously, how much money you're going to have to put down between closing costs and your down payment, and then truly understand what is that monthly mortgage payment going to look like, and does it include property taxes? Does that include mortgage insurance? What's the full picture? And of course, make sure you can afford it. The sad truth here in San Diego County is prices and affordability, they're really challenging, especially for first-time buyers in this market. So most people buying a house, they're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable with that monthly mortgage payment. It's not going to be the first number that pops in their head for what they want to spend every single month. And that's okay as long as you know you can still make it work. And if you are getting close to maxing out that pre-approval amount, that's generally not the wisest decision to make, but there are specific situations. Let's say someone's graduating college and they're about to start their full-time job and make significantly more money within the next couple of months. That could be a situation where that makes a lot of sense. But if you are getting close to maxing out your personal budget, make sure that you're not making challenging decisions for you right after moving into the property. And a specific example of this is, let's say you move into a house, you really want some upgrades done, you really want that backyard to look really nice. This is something that happened to some recent clients of mine. They moved to the house, immediately made those upgrades, even though financially it was not a smart decision for them. And then 12 months later, they ended up needing to sell the home. So if you're going all in on this house and you want to make some upgrades, make sure that you have a buffer and a good timeline in place for when you're going to make that happen, so that you're not making your monthly expenses at a level, turning them into a level that is unmanageable for you. And number 6 is probably the most overlooked on this list, and that's understanding the resale value of the house. Considering current market trends and specific location for that property, is it close to commercial spaces? Is it close to a mobile home park? Is it close to a freeway? Is it located within a nice or really highly desired school district? These are factors that are going to be really important when it comes to resale. And of course, a lot of people are buying homes in San Diego to live in. It is also an investment. And if you're looking to potentially sell in 3 or 5 or 7 years from now, and the market is different, there is more inventory, there are more homes to compete against, and you have some of these factors that are making it challenging for you to sell this house, that's something that you want to consider. And hopefully, if you're working with a real estate agent, go out of their way to help you understand resale value on specific properties, because it's going to change. It's not just resale value in a specific city. It can be very unique factors for a specific home on a specific street. And number 7 is going to be the most impactful to your bank account. Make sure that you avoid short-term stays. If you're planning to live in San Diego for 2 or 3 years, let's say you are PCSing, which is moving here with the military on military orders, and you know that you have a 2 to 3 year stay, this is going to be challenging. If you go to sell that house in 2 to 3 years and the market stays flat, you're going to lose money. There's going to be money out of pocket. And if there's any chance that you might live there less than 2 years and you actually make money on that sale, well, now you're going to have to pay capital gains. And once you live in a property for over 2 years, you you now have the capital gains exemption, which means over $250,000 gain for one person or over $500,000 gain for two people, you can essentially write off and not have to pay any capital gains taxes on. So this happened to some clients of mine this year where they ended up buying a house with me. They ended up needing to sell a year later. Of course, this was completely unexpected, but they ended up having to move back across country. The home sold for $30,000 more, but when you add in real estate commissions, when you add in closing costs, when you add in all of the costs that they put into the house for upgrades and repairs, they ended up selling it at around a $50,000 loss. Look, real estate is one of the easiest ways to gain wealth in your life, but you have to have a really smart plan in place. So here's the thing. If you want to avoid these big, costly mistakes when moving here to San Diego or buying a home here in San Diego County, my team and I would love to help you through the process. Call or reach out anytime. We have a discovery session link below where we can have a 30-minute free Zoom call to help you figure out where you should live and what area makes most sense for you and for your budget. And honestly, now might be the time to consider renting versus owning, which I go over in complete detail in this video right here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.